I'm Sky. I must be the best. Old man's
Yeah,
like, shut up, sit down.
Yeah, be gone. Like, I need to get all the powers, and he's like, take
up,
this,
man.
be gone. Welcome to New Game Plus. This is a retro gaming podcast where three guys spend 7 days playing one old game and then we talk about it. My name's Dustin.
My name is Kenny.
Nolan.
And this is episode 369. And
Nice.
I have been playing the new Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm game, which you both know of, and it is, of course, all about the music of the beloved RPG series. We know that Final Fantasy, the series, has inarguably the best music out of all video game series. But I am setting that aside for now, and I have a question for you because it's obviously been on my mind now. What video game series has the best music? I think often it's talked about what video game, what are some
single
of the
game? Yeah.
But that's easy, easier. You've got Bastion, that is up there, but that's not a series. You've got what's that Toby Fox game? The with the skeleton?
Stardew Valley?
Nope.
Undertale.
Undertale. That a lot of people really talk about that one highly. Obviously. Anyways, there's good standalone games.
Sure.
But
Series.
I'm asking you what series, and we can name a few, but what are some of the best of all time?
I know, it's Zelda.
I knew you were going to say that.
But when you say that you can't argue Final Fantasy, you can, and Zelda is the opponent that I would put against Final Fantasy and have the best chance of winning. That battle. Because, dude, come on.
I think it's a good answer. I don't know if it's a good competition to put against Final Fantasy.
Why?
But yeah, why?
Yeah.
Because
the composer.
I mean, it's beautiful. It's great.
What's the Final Fantasy composer?
Yeah, Uematsu.
Is it Uematsu? That's what I was guessing.
Yeah, right?
I'm looking, and it is Nobuo Uematsu.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't be touched. But the guy that does all the
I feel like we butcher them every time we say names.
But when they listen, they understand.
They know.
I mean, Zelda is a good answer. I have it on my list. So, yeah, I'm not going to argue with you there. Although I just did. Kenny.
No argument.
I'm trying to think. I'm coming
Can't think of any video game series.
I mean, there's just no video games at all. I tend to go to things that were really iconic, and maybe not the whole series, but the sound and music of Halo.
I knew he was gonna say it.
Big for me.
No, that's a great answer.
Big.
It's a good
answer. It's so good, especially some of those early ones. And I mean, that's a big enough universe. They've been able to do a lot.
Yeah, sure.
We did an Elements episode. I don't know if y'all recall what those are. On the music of Halo.
Was it the music?
2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was the music.
Yeah, of Halo.
Maybe been of the Halo.
I think it was of Halo.
I think it was just Halo.
Yeah.
I think we all just selected
together.
Halo 2 songs. So that's not true. But yeah, no, that's some of the best. I also have that on my list. I've got 3 others on my list. You want to hear what they
Scrolls.
are? Ooh. I saw people talk about
like
that, but none
Skyrim
of that
alone.
sticks with me. Except,
Really?
there is with the theme song.
Well, yeah.
But
the Dragonborn
none of
theme
the
song?
other stuff- Yeah,
of course. Skyrim alone carries that franchise. But, yeah, they stick with me.
I put on one less epic one, but so many good retro tracks. The Donkey Kong Country series.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
are you insane?
Has some bangers. Obviously, the music level
but, like,
or
creative bangers for the console it came out on.
Creative,
Like, it sounds like it came out on
good.
PlayStation or something.
It's so interesting. I did put the Mass Effect series because, dude, some of that music is some of the best. It's epic.
I could
beautiful. And then I put the Metroid series. What do you think about that?
Yeah, like Masterclass in atmosphere. No other game can. And I'm talking back on the NES.
Right,
setting atmosphere with the music. How do you do that? But they did.
And I guess that one is a little bit distinct from some of these other ones because it is a lot more atmospheric than like these orchestral.
Sure. I think it counts. It counts.
I'm sure there's some we're missing, though. There's some really good music out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we named some of the really, really big ones, but
The heavy hitters.
Again, I think I said this last week, but if you're listening and have some video game series
Yeah.
Where the soundtrack is solid all the way across. Either drop it in our Discord, comment on this video, or scream it into your radio again, and we'll hear you. Quick, someone tell me to do my segue.
Do your segue.
Sky, Captain. Like in our retro game of the week, Skyblazer. That was really good.
Should have just been like 420 Blazer.
Overview.
Skyblazer is a cool name.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, like high school me, junior high me, that would have been my like
Now
AOL
me.
Instant Messenger name.
Now me.
Absolutely. It's got similar like hype vibes to me with like the intro to what was that cartoon where it was a cartoon. I'm being so descriptive.
That's narrowed it down.
And they're animals, and there's an airplane, and the little guy flies on the little thing behind the airplane.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
We played a game, I think.
Wait, we played a game?
Maybe we didn't, but that era of game. That cartoon's intro has a special kind of hype in my heart. Whatever it is, someone drop it in Discord. You know what I'm talking about. And it has this vibe, Skyblazer vibe.
I'll buy it. Skyblazer came out in 1994. It was a platformer for the Super Nintendo. Although I'm going to make many references to the Sega Genesis because so many things reminded me about the Genesis this week, from the look and the gameplay and everything. We'll talk about it more. Okay. But yeah, Super Nintendo exclusive worldwide. And
arguably it needed to be, but we'll get into that too.
It needed to be worldwide?
No, it needed to be a Super Nintendo exclusive.
Oh.
Interesting.
We'll circle back.
Ooh, teaser. Stay tuned. The developer was Yuki Yotai, and the publisher for Japan was Epic and Sony Records, and North America, EU, Sony ImageSoft.
ImageSoft published, well, the most notable thing I think they published was the NES version of Dragon's Lair, which is quite a significant game to bring to home consoles, because that's the...
I didn't remember that game came to consoles at all.
No, I didn't either.
That's
but
crazy.
It did.
Wait, it would be a totally different game, though.
I don't know how it runs on the NES, but they did that port.
But you remember, Dragon's Lair, fully cinematic art. This would have to be a platforming game or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, so you said that, and we didn't know that because Sony ImageSoft, I looked at their catalog.
Defunct.
Yeah, they didn't do much that you would recognize.
There's a Mickey Mania game that I think did well that they did.
Oh, Mickey Mania.
Yeah.
One of the things they did do that is interesting and that someone brought up in Discord this week, and that makes me think of a few things, is that they did Hook.
Yeah.
Like based off the movie.
Love it.
For the Super Nintendo, the Genesis, the NES, and the Game Boy. An action game there.
I think I played that.
Ooh.
The Hook game?
I think
I
so.
certainly watched that movie about 70 times a day as a kid.
You know why I think it's interesting? And we'll talk about it more again, but I think in this game, you know how when he jumps, he throws his arms back? Does that not look very Hook-like? Did they reuse assets?
It's got a little animation.
It's got
there.
very Pan vibes.
That's
here.
Pan.
This is Pan.
You are the Pan.
So good,
Nolan,
guys.
I don't want to distract us, but you're Rufio boy, aren't you?
Rufio! Oh, of course.
He does the voice of
Rufio?
Well, yes.
While he moves his mouth and I talk.
I just forgot the Fire Nation boy as his name in
that
Avatar.
actor
That's
does
that same actor.
Yeah.
Cool. I didn't know
Nice.
that.
Yeah, you learn something new every day with NGP. And as we mentioned last week, and Nolan, back me up here, this is our first platforming video game of 2023.
Yes, 100%. Totally.
Yep, thank you. No questions asked.
Wait, why does Kenny not think that? Because what?
Because we played another platforming game in 2023.
Played at least
What?
another platformer.
No, not a lot.
Earthworm Jim.
That doesn't count. That was a revisit.
I like that Nolan keeps going to it doesn't count.
That was a revisit.
So, other than that one, we haven't. And
yes,
it's good to come back to some platforming.
Yeah. It is my favorite. No, it's my second favorite genre.
Yeah, you really like platforming. I've always had
especially ones I've never played before.
Yeah. In fact, your favorite game, according to your ranking that all three of us did a live stream doing, Nolan, your favorite game of last year was a platformer.
Yes, it was. Mega Man 5.
No.
Yeah.
No, it was that the eagle one. It's not an eagle.
But Alien Soldier. Yeah, they were both in S tier.
Oh, but don't just passively change it, acting like I was wrong.
No, Alien Soldier was top of S tier, and Mega Man 5 was right behind it.
Oh, okay. So, two platformers.
Yeah.
Still, second is not top.
But when we did,
I'm with Kenny on this one.
When we did our top 10 games that we played on the podcast live stream about a year or so ago, my top answer was Mega Man 2.
Got you. That's where you're going. So, anyways, platforming boy over here. Yeah. And then I'm a mid platformer, and I think it's Kenny's worst genre maybe.
Oh, in terms of skill, I'm bad at them.
That you
just
like
generally, but some of them can be fun. It very much depends. It's certainly not top of my genre list by any means.
The story here is as follows. The evil Ashura has awoken from his centuries-long slumber, and he wants to wage war. Capturing and transforming the descendants of the mystic pantheon, he turns them into evil warlords. You play as Sky, the last free descendant of the mystic pantheon, and you set up on a quest to free the young sorceress Ariana and face Ashura in mortal combat to end his tyrannical rule once and for all. Dun, dun, dun.
Combat.
I was trying to describe the theme of this game, and reading the Japanese names for some of the characters revealed a little bit more. They're all Hindu names. And that's the thing. That's what I'm going with. Like,
got you.
You know, because like it's definitely got a flavor.
Sonic level.
Yes.
As well.
Gameplay.
This game immediately reminded me of something. I couldn't put my finger on it.
Super strong.
But this game has a vibe.
Was it a cartoon?
No, Kenny, it's not the animal flying cartoon. That doesn't exist. But I'm hoping you guys can help me figure it out. I don't know.
Oh no.
It's not necessarily a game we've played on the podcast. You said something about a Sega platformer. I don't know.
Yeah. We're 2 for 2 here on really strong yeah, go ahead.
Let's talk about something it did remind me of that I can be very distinct about. Though this is not a vibe thing, this is a moveset thing. But watching the game, you immediately start running, jumping around, and then cling to the side of a wall. Shing.
Ninja Gaiden.
It 100% takes me back to Ninja Gaiden and our time playing that on the NES.
Maybe that's it.
It's a fun episode.
And it reminds me of Spider-Man.
Because of the wall clinging? Maybe that's what I'm so stuck on.
I don't think you're nice.
I think Nolan's
stuck on Spider-Man. I don't think you think.
No, I think
Spider-Man.
Nolan's stuck on the weird flying T-pose jump animation somehow.
Are you thinking of Hook?
Rufio?
Yeah, Rufio.
Yeah,
which, by the way, he's the voice of the Fire Nation guy.
in Avatar.
Yeah.
We're the worst podcast.
Zuko, is that his name?
No.
Okay.
Danny Zuko.
Oh man. So this is a platformer that I don't know what it reminds us of. Spider-Man or Ninja Gaiden or all sorts of things. One thing that does set it apart, and I just want to get there immediately before we talk about the more traditional platforming stages, is that this one has an overworld map, which is not traditional when it comes to platforming, although some do have it.
Yeah.
But
Mario's a pretty traditional platformer.
Very true.
It goes there, especially in this era.
I stand erected. So the thing that is unique here...
You what?
Revisit that sentence.
I stand corrected.
Okay.
Thank you.
The thing that is unique about the overworld here that you can't do in Super Mario World is revisit the stages.
Right.
You can do that in Super Mario World also.
I think you can.
Yeah.
You absolutely can.
So this is a very standard practice in the business.
No, it's just Mario. So Mario 3 started doing that, and then Super Mario World did it. I don't think you can revisit them in Mario 3. I think they're closed.
And this doesn't stick around. I mean, platformers evolve, and then
Not
3D
really.
platformers, and then it's always hub worlds, which is different, but kind of the same idea. But it feels very distinct to those mid-90s Super Nintendo platformers.
Well, I like that you can in this one. I just like the option to do it and to like
absolutely
farm if you want to go back and just like do it. And the stages themselves are not long, which was actually such a nice surprise.
So
here.
Nice.
I mean, you've got games that have like unnecessary checkpoints. It just goes on way too long. There's like a wall of enemies you have to get past. It's like, where are the short stages at this time in gaming? I liked it a lot. It was refreshing.
It was nice. I also liked I noticed that the stages were the perfect length. Like, just when you felt like you should be getting to a boss, you got to a boss, rather than it just extending far too long. And I thought the variety of stages were also unique.
Yes. Did you have a favorite?
Tons of varieties.
Oh, sure. So you have some that are somewhat traditional platforming, but then you've got some that are traditional platforming, but you're in the trees, and the trees are a little Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, I think. And you're tree hopping.
Reminded you of?
There's a stage where you're skyblazing. There's blazing through the skies. I don't know what else to call it. You're hovering or something.
Yeah, he's got like some sort of jetpack.
You're skyblazing. It was self-explanatory.
Then there's one. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it was the one that was most notable to me and will probably stick with me. And it's that tower climbing one, which I imagine.
That's what I have. Tower of
Isn't that
Tower
remarkable?
It's fantastic.
Tower's
because
crazy.
The tower. It's the spiral mechanic. You're going along that. You're like
the outside of a round.
Going the outside of a tower.
Yeah.
You could go inside rooms, optional rooms, and get like 1-ups and just go in there, come back out, and continue your ascension. And there's like a timing segment, like a Mega Man style timing. It was
with those blocks.
Such a good stage, dude. It is such a good stage.
Did we talk about the like cloud-ish sort of stage?
The Twister one.
Yeah, you were sort of like in a storm.
Yes.
I don't know if it was.
We didn't
to be
talk about
it. It sort of felt like the tree, like
yeah,
you
it's
had
similar.
Different kind of interactions with your environment. There were lots of variety here, and not only tons of unique interactions on levels, but also the very, very Super Nintendo specific use of Mode 7 in a whole bunch of ways.
A whole bunch of ways.
Bunch of ways, and just like subtly woven in, you didn't even notice it sometimes.
Yeah,
and then sometimes you very much did notice it. One of my favorite representations of it was one of the bosses. So at the end of each of these stages, you have a boss battle that is unique. They're different from one another. It is not rinse and repeat.
Don't steal my favorite.
Well, I'm going to. Well, I think I am, because I think it's the most notable boss in this video game, and it is the wall-tating row boss. Wall-tating?
Wall-tating row?
Yes!
Okay.
Rotating wall!
The ice stage boss is a wall with a face on it, and you're like, cool, I'll just jump up, punch this thing, slash it.
Right.
Until it phases and spins, and then you have to react quickly to where the gap in the wall is and jump through it. It's the best boss.
Cool.
It is so unique.
Simple mechanics, but keeps you on your toes. Kind of challenging, feels really unique, and the look is great.
Looks
the way
good.
They got that. Yeah.
But here's the thing. While we're on bosses, fantastic across the freaking board. Each one had a unique look, mechanic, strategy, and reward. I love them. That's my favorite. Like, dude, the wall rotating thing was it. Like, my jaw dropped. I was like, what?
I love.
I know you hated the rolly one though.
I didn't, because I figured it out, but I know that Kenny didn't get past it.
I figured out my second try.
The fat rolly one.
Yes.
That grows.
Yeah.
Oh no, I loved him.
Did you get to?
And you got past him?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people in our community got stuck this week.
I saw that.
Reasonably so. It took me a little bit because it starts off as a small roly-poly, and you jump, you climb the wall, jump over him. But eventually he gets too large where you can't jump over him. And
so then you hide.
Yeah.
Yes, but for a lot of people, that doesn't come readily to mind.
They thought you had to continue to jump over him, and I think they were dying before it got to the.
Big to jump
I know,
over.
but I think they were dying before it got to the point where he's like the screen, and then it's like, okay, duh, I duck in the corner.
Well, Kenny, I think part of the thought I saw this week, some people think that you've got to use one of your abilities to be able to phase through him when he's too large.
You don't have to.
You're not going to have enough magic, I think, to be able to get through all of that.
No, I tried. Which you won't have enough magic.
Is another key component of this game.
Yeah, we need to talk about that.
You've got your traditional platforming abilities, run, jump, punch, and if you can do a little punch combo even that turns into like
it's like
kick.
A boom boom kick.
Yeah, boom boom kick, something like that. But on top of that, you've got 8 special powers throughout the game that I love when Super Nintendo games use their LNR function. Not all do, and I think it's a waste. But you can use LNR to swap between these special powers and use them either in battle or in mobility around these platforming levels.
Yes. And it's like Mega Man style, where some of them are unlocked from beating the boss. No one people should have been copying Mega Man in that, and not too many people did. I love getting a boss power. Metroid does it, but in their own way. It's Metroidvania style and all that.
So hold on. So were we getting them? I didn't catch that. Were we getting them from the boss? Were they connected to the boss's moveset?
I think they're supposed to. They don't pull it off as seamlessly as Mega Man does.
I didn't even catch that.
But yeah, no, like the tornado one gives you the lightning one. You get the time stop ability from the.
That's the water
wall.
one. I don't know where.
Oh, that's the water one.
I think it's the water one.
Some of them
there's some amount
murky,
of at least theming to it.
Still,
yeah, it's not like so overt like skill based on the specific boss, but it's still like you cleared the boss, you gain a huge power up, and these are cool power ups. There's nothing worse than getting a power up and it not feeling powerful. You know, it just being
or
like
using it
lame, or feeling like you had to save it, or like some of the just things that you see in some games.
Yeah.
And this one wasn't that. Like, every single one of these power-ups I wanted to use and had times to use them. And
favorite power-up?
Huge variety of things you could do with them, too.
Favorite power-up is going to seem lame to some people, but I like it just because you rarely see this.
I swear,
and it could be in any kind of power-up game. I just loved the heal power ability.
Yeah.
It is just it grants you health. And you pick up health. There's health vials that drop along the way, along with magic vials that can replenish your magic along the way. So there's plenty of those. But if you have lost a lot of health, or you're in a boss battle and you need extra health to be able to finish it, you can restore some of your health by just using that ability. You don't see that much, and I thought it was so cool.
No.
Yeah,
Mine, before Kenny steals it, is time stop. How many times have you been playing a platformer and been like, oh man, if I could just stop these projectiles, I swear I would go off. I mean, you could just stop the enemies, all the enemies on your screen, and get through a challenging platforming part, or use it in a boss fight. It actually works on some of the bosses. I don't think it works on all.
I didn't even try it on bosses.
It works, dude. It worked on the Eagle boss, or like the Whirlwind one, where he has the copies, and you could just like melee him to death until he becomes unfrozen. It's so sick, dude. They're all good though.
They're all really good. I was partial to the lightning.
Yeah.
Just strong OP, like lightning bolts are hard to beat. But every move I wanted to do, and I wanted to find excuses and times to do them.
I do want to go back to the overworld a little bit, because we're talking about all these stages and power-ups. We probably did them in different orders this week, which is always interesting to me when the game allows the player to do that. I don't think there might be a benefit actually of doing certain ones before other ones, but they give you the dash one at the first part of the game before it lets you open up, which is the one you need. And that was a good game design choice. But yeah, you can just, you go about the overworld how you want.
You can even skip some of the content if you want, because it doesn't force you to go to every single level. Though, if you do, you're going to miss some power-ups that you probably want to get.
Did y'all play?
It was cool that you had that freedom to kind of go all over.
Did y'all play the enemy wave stage? Just going back to the varied stages, there is a boat, there's a ship to nowhere, I think it's called, that you can get on, and it's waves of enemies that spawn on the ship, and you take them out, and then another wave comes. They had waves of enemies stage. Like, there was so much variety, dude.
The stage, there's a bonus, I think it's a bonus stage that comes up randomly every once in a while where you're doing this flying away from the screen, and Kenny's doing a little spiral with his finger. But it's full mode 7, and it's where you're flying away. It reminds me of, isn't there a Sonic bonus stage where you're kind of zooming away from? And you're collecting gems.
Sonic.
Yeah, you're running in a spiral in the Sonic one.
And in this one, you're flying in a spiral, and you're collecting gems and trying not to get hit by these spiked balls that will end your stage. But it's just a fun little break from the action, and it gives you additional lives if you collect 100.
They're so generous with 1-ups in this game. Yep. I like that a lot.
They are, but they kind of needed to be.
They did.
This is not the hardest platformer we've ever played. It wasn't punishing. And yes, they were amazing about giving you the tools you needed to get through it. Lots of life, lots of magic replay, lots of 1-ups, a password system to lock in your progress as you go. But even with all of that, this was a fairly challenging game.
I've heard it range. I've heard no one say that it's hard, and I know you're not saying that either. I know.
Yeah.
But I think where the challenge comes in is not in the stages itself, but is in learning. For me, it was the stickiness of the wall and trying to figure out how to get off the wall and the hit detection.
There you go.
Because once you once you have these powers, you kind of don't need to go punch things anymore. Because I thought the hitboxes were so poorly done. When I'm fighting that big eyeball, and it's not an eyeball. You're punching it in the eye, but that big the roly-poly creature, you have to get in that to be able to hit it with your punch or your kick, and it just doesn't feel good. And then you're bound to get hit, take tons of damage. So I think that's where some of the difficulty lies, not in the stages themselves necessarily, but in the mechanical portion of that.
Yeah. Totally felt that, like, immediately. Did find that the aerial kick that you can do has a bigger hurt box all around you. That helps a lot. I used it a lot, actually, because you can spam your ability, and you want to, because you'll get refills. Like, they're very generous with drops in this game, so you're going to get refills. It's going to be fine. I don't know. There's just something in me that likes to save things for boss fights, even though I didn't have to. So I was jumping and kicking, like jump kick, and it worked out nicely. But yeah, dude, it did feel like really bad. The hit detection on your punches felt really bad.
And to speak on the wall climb, I like that you can do that. But man, there are so many times where there's one sequence on the tower stage where, like, right when you finally get to the top of the tower, you've got these walls that are closing in on you, Star Wars style.
Yep.
And you're having to climb up the wall in some of those portions. Well, I could not get detached from the wall sometimes. Or once you get to the top, he kind of like clips up and then falls back down to the wall. It didn't feel completely optimized there.
Yeah, I agree.
But again, I loved that you could do it. One of the things that I discovered this week that I don't know if I didn't see anyone else discover it this week, and I don't know if you noticed it. And I think it's such a small thing. I would imagine it was purposeful, and I think it's so nice that on the pause screen, it's one of those pause screens that you can still see everything. It just freezes everything. You can swap your weapon, your magic ability with L&R in the pause screen. I've never seen that before.
That's interesting great. Because it seems like it's a full game freeze when you pause. Like
right. And it is, except for the special powers.
That's helpful for people that get overwhelmed.
It's helpful to slow things down. And for me, it's always, I love L&R, but sometimes you're not right next to the ability you want to get to. Yeah. And so you have to cycle. I inevitably skip over it and have to cycle again. And so so once I found that out, to be able to pause, give myself a breather and get to the exact, like when I was in the underwater stage fighting those clams that shoot out these annoying fish, I really wanted to use that like multi-direction like spike shooting thing. And so I had to pausing or getting to the middle, pausing, swapping to that, it was super helpful for me.
I wonder if that was a bug. or if
Right.
that was intentional.
I
Like,
wondered.
It seems.
I wondered.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say about gameplay, when you have a platformer that is kind of flashy like this, the main character comes into play, and I hate Sky and the old man. Those are like the only two characters. They're both insufferable because they just talk crap to each other the entire game. Like, that's all.
I'm so glad you said that. I literally was going to bring up one more thing about this game, and it was going to be the story is whatever, but the main character has the worst personality and is totally annoying.
I'm Sky. I must be the best. Old man's like, shut up, sit down.
Yeah, be gone. Like, I need to get all the powers, and he's like, take this, be gone, get out of here. Like,
It's weird.
This I agree with y'all. It didn't bother me. I'm not. Again, I think we don't play platforming games for the story. I think it's a good setup here. It's a good world, and then if the platforming's fun, that's great, and it was. I always say when we come to platformers, I'm just gonna repeat over and over again that in my platformers, I always need to enjoy a platformer. I either need some evolution in the stages as we go along so that you're getting some variety there, or some evolution in your character, that you're gaining new abilities that allow you to tackle the challenges better. I think this game gives both of those.
You got both.
Exactly.
In spades this week.
Aged.
I want to start with Legacy first in this section because you know of the big platformers on SNES, the obvious ones being Nintendo's babies, Mario, Metroid, DKC, etc. Then you get into the Konami side of things with Castlevania, Super Castlevania 4 specifically. Capcom's got Mega Man X, Demon Crest. Ain't nobody told me about Ukiyote's Skyblazer?
Okay, so by legacy you mean lack of legacy then.
Sure.
I was wondering. I was like, what legacy?
He means hidden gem credentials because nobody knows about this game.
Not
Not
one
one
person.
person.
I
Hidden
don't.
gems, though.
And I'm a
Actraiser.
nobody.
No, I'm with. I promise you, there's 12 people that have played this game before, and that's in the.
way.
That's in the.
How?
You think that's too high?
No, I think it's obviously too low.
No, I've never heard anyone talk about this game. I don't think people rented this game. Does it come down to promotion? Because like it was in the perfect time frame. Everybody's playing these kinds of games during this time.
Yes.
It has a good name and cover, I think, for like rental. Like this is a Blockbuster Take One video. What's yours again, Nolan?
Video Giant.
Video Giant. Like it's a perfect rental. Like so many things, but yet it's never talked about. No one knows about it. It's not on any lists.
Why? That's so shocking. It's just shocking to me because let's be honest. I mean, the game's pretty sick. Like in presentation alone, you look at it, you'd be like, "Oh, that looks significant. That looks like I should at least be aware of it." I'm trying to look in '94 of what came out in '94 on the SNES.
For sure.
I mean,
that
This is
not
not Donkey
big
Kong
games
Country?
came out in '94.
Well, I'm just like, what came out that everyone was looking at that, and to keep them from looking at this, like it had to have been a mainline Final Fantasy or something. I don't know.
Well, I think so. 1994. This
six.
is just off the top of
FF6.
my head. I think that's Final Fantasy 6. I think that's Donkey Kong Country. So there
Super
are
Street
big
Fighter
hitters.
2. Yeah. Super Metroid.
But that doesn't mean like they didn't have the full market. There's still people that are looking for these kinds of games. I don't chalk it up to that because there's other platforming games around this time that were still played. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know what. I watched SNES Drunk's video on this game this week.
I knew he did
A friend of the show.
Yeah.
He had one on this. And he was baffled the whole time. He said, I looked for reasons as to why no one had heard about this and no one had played this and no one still knows about it. And he couldn't. He looked, he couldn't find it. He said, I would call this a hidden gem, but it's not hidden. It's right there. Go play it. Like
The Wikipedia page is this big.
Right.
Where's
You
the
commented on it.
information on this?
It has to be in the hands of Yuki Yotai. They did something.
Defunct.
Well, sure. But maybe they just printed 12 of these.
I think a lot of team members went to SNK, which is a major developer, and so it was just one of those companies that either formed from something else or just came about that did this and dipped, I guess. Like, I don't know.
Okay, lack of legacy. We did that. You mentioned up front what did you say? What kind of vibes were you saying with the names of, I guess,
Oh,
Brahma
it's Hindu
and
names.
Hindu names. The music immediately catches your attention when you turn this on because it's not similar to other games at the time. It's got a zither,
very thematic,
Arabian Nights type beat. That's what it is.
Centaur or something. Yeah.
Sitar.
Zitar. Somebody strumming on a four-legged half-horse creature.
And I didn't like it at first because it's jarring and it's not what I'm expecting in a video game like this.
Well, when you look at the cover, you don't expect it either.
Right.
You don't at all. That whole theme kind of comes out of left field, and it does. It slaps you in the face musically on the opening. It's too heavy-handed there, but it dials it back for most of the rest of the game. And even though it still sort of stays in that theme, it was much more enjoyable.
Yeah, totally agree. And especially, I think this isn't abnormal. And there's a reason for it. It's to help you not rage. But the water stage has the best track in this entire game.
Of Carry On. I put it down because I immediately when the stage started, I was like, bop.
It's so good.
It's too good. And Temple of Infernus, which was the second stage. You played it in your first play. It's so good. It's layered. This is goated SNES music. Y'all realize that? This is up there with all those other games I was naming. What?
We don't have it on our chill SNES playlist.
I'm an idiot.
Do we have
that
a chill
song
SNES
should be on it? We also don't have a chill SNES playlist.
Right. I mean, and it would be on here if we did.
Absolutely. The whole OST.
Yeah. I liked the music. You eventually did too, Nolan. Kenny, you said they dialed it back. Did you end up liking it?
Yes. Loved it. I don't know if I'm quite as hyped about it as Nolan is, but it was good.
Oh, no. Don't say y'all.
I'm not complaining at all.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. It might not be S tier for me, but it was A tier.
Okay.
Easy.
I think probably a summer in S tier. That water stage is in S tier. What I do think is in S tier, I think this is I feel like I've said this recently. This is another reason why I thought Genesis summed this week, because usually you get the bright popping colors with the Genesis palette, not with the SNES palette. But the graphics here are some of the better graphics I've seen on the console.
Yeah. I was wondering what you meant by the Genesis, and I guessed graphics. I'm with you. Yeah, dude. What?
The layers. So much going on the screen with the rain. Is that the first stage? The rain, the sky moving in the background. Are you kidding me about the pixel art on the enemies? The bosses?
The bosses are top.
So good.
They struck a really healthy balance between respectable sizes for your character and enemies and not feeling like a giant in comparison to your surroundings. So what I mean is, you've got that X-Men game or something that we played where your character is big and we were like, wow, the sprite work is fantastic, but you feel like an idiot.
80% of the screen though. Yeah.
It just felt balanced and good, and everything looked sick. The T-pose dive, I was in. And I love the attention to detail, like small things with graphics. Like, the eel enemy in the water stage? It was like this purple eel thing. It had balls as a body. When you when you kill it, each ball of the body drops something. It drops.
That's cool. You want to know the animation that blew me away, and it's the death animation, which at least you're getting something nice when you die. But the guy, it's sick. He turns like sideways, does this slanted twirl into a magical burst. Like, you don't have to do that for a death animation.
No, just have him fall.
No, it's actually so cool.
It is so cool, that death animation. I don't want to die, but that animation is so cool. I know I said it, but I feel like it bears repeating. I know I just said it a few seconds ago. The pixel art, the detail on the bosses are absurd. And I already talked about the variety in the way that the bosses play, which is great, but the variety in the way the bosses look. Every single one of them are so rich in character design, and again, the color palette, it reminds me of Genesis because it's so bright.
Very
bright. The colors are so vivid. It looks so good.
I'm mad.
Yeah, I'm super impressed by that.
Owen's mad.
Going back to the legacy, Nolan, there's no other game in this series. This was a one and done. No one talked about it or thought about it again.
It's not a spiritual successor. That it doesn't have a spiritual successor.
No. I wanted Earthblazer.
Yes.
Seablazer.
Okay, nice.
The others.
I don't
know what else.
But dude, is it because
I
wanted Skyblazer, Skyphaser?
Is it because the publisher wasn't Nintendo, Konami, or Capcom? If they had a bigger publisher,
that's it.
Because they made games.
I don't know, dude.
I don't know, man.
If Sony Records published it in Japan, I feel like they just started going to albums and CDs and music. I don't know what they did.
It's just stuck, man. It's stuck in time.
It is something we'll never find out unless we talk to Hiroshi Goto or I don't know Kenshi Naruse or any of these people. Yeah. If you're listening to this, Harumi Fujita,
goated composer, by the way.
As you're listening to this, please reach out to us and let us know. ngppodcast@gmail.com.
Why would they do that? Don't give them the actual email. They're not going to do that.
Okay, this game, if you want to buy it, it's going to be expensive because they only made 12 of them.
Excuse me?
100. I've said that 1,000. I've said it 3 times already, saying that they only produced 12 of them. It's a joke.
Nolan hasn't figured out that this is the episode where we just repeat the same joke over and over again.
What was one of the earlier jokes we can bring back? All right. $110 used.
High.
Nolan wants it to be more.
Yeah.
$1,059 new.
Whoa.
Worth, honestly.
Worth?
Yes, worth. Yes.
That would be sick to have in your collection, man. Are you kidding me?
Final thoughts.
At the end of each and every one of our episodes, we determine whether or not the game gets our vote for New Game Plus. That's our general thumbs up or thumbs down. It does require 2/3 of the vote to swing one way or the other. Kenny, who resembles the old man that Sky meets in the game.
Yeah,
crotchety
they actually wrote it based on me.
Take it.
NGP status, most definitely. This game is great. I don't even really have anything to complain about, and usually I like to complain about something. I'll find a couple little things. No. The character's personality is a bit annoying.
Oh gosh.
You guys.
When you have to go to the character's personality as the
personality, no, it's a good sign. I dislike the weird flying T-pose jump animation. It was too much for me. But other than that,
T-pose?
This game is it's almost flawless. There's a couple little performance things that could be better, or whatever else.
You're just reaching now.
Fishing.
It's so good. It's a great title, and I am not at all surprised to find it on the Super Nintendo, because I think this is what the Super Nintendo was about.
I feel like I'm going to steal some of Nolan's words, so I'll try to keep mine brief.
Okay.
I think this is probably the epitome of hidden gem. We've had a few of those on the show, but it's few and far in between. And because you either know about them and they're good, right? Or you don't know about them and they're bad. Or they're good and you just haven't played them, but other people have. Yeah. This is one of those that, for whatever reason, obviously we're baffled. People do not know about it. And they should, because this is just as good as many of the other platformers from this particular era, if not better in some regards. It's a lot of fun. Every stage is unique. I think one complaint that some people have is that it's too short of a game. You can clear this pretty much without any much difficulty within 2 to 3 hours. But I love that, particularly now, later in my gaming era. Maybe back when I was, 12, 14, if I was renting this, I would have wanted it longer, or if I owned it. But I think it's a perfect length game. I think the graphics are stunning. The music is so good. The mechanical issues frustrate me, but I think you can get used to a lot of them. I think this is one of the standout platformers of the era and is certainly a hidden gem. I give it my vote for New Game Plus status.
My first sentence is potentially one of the most hidden of gems. I suppose I've heard the name. Maybe. Probably not. But either way, it deserves to come up in conversations more often. 100%. It's also one of the more playable SNES platformers. There's no hurdles. There's no steep learning curve. It's not too offensive on difficulty. In fact, if someone asked me, hey, what platformer should I play on SNES? I would say Super Castlevania 4. Like, definitive platformer ever. Best. But it's very hard. And my follow-up to that would be play Skyblazer. It's easier. And it's fantastic. Just platforming, no BS. I loved every session. I haven't beat it. I can't wait to play more and beat it. I'm close to the end. NGP all day.
That's 3 straight across, which means Skyblazer is New Game Plus certified. For now, we're going to set aside Skyblazer and find out which game we'll be playing for the next 7 days. And I have some exciting news to share with the community. You don't have to cross your fingers, Kenny. It's already been decided. We are having, for the first time in years, a traditional guest.
A collab.
We've had directors, a many, over the last couple of years. We have had guests, a few, or a none.
Very few, like less than 10.
Very few. And so now it's time to bring in a guest again. This was actually someone that was brought to our attention by one of our community members.
Yeah.
We are going to next week be talking with that Trav guy. He is a video game content creator on YouTube, primarily on YouTube. High quality videos. And Trav has selected the game that we are going to be playing for the next 7 days. And it is a 2000 action role-playing game.
Okay.
Whew. Developed by Ion Storm and published by Eidos Interactive. Nolan, you know already?
Yeah.
It's crazy. This is set in a cyberpunk-themed dystopian world in the year 2052, and it's a game that Nolan had on his list to play this year. It's absurd. Trav did not know that, and Trav picked this game, and Nolan had it on his list to play this year.
Yeah, it's like my
backlog. You had it on your list to play this year. So, Nolan, what's the game?
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex.
PC. Woo!
Is that not insane?
That is.
Now, we're not
exciting.
playing the remake. Is it a remake?
No.
Is there a remake? There's not a remake?
No, but I mean, the series continues.
Game in the series? Okay,
yeah,
there might be a new game in the series.
Yeah, there is. But yeah, no, I think this is the first one. And I don't know. It's just always been on a lot of lists of best PC games ever. It looks really cool, and it looks similar to games I enjoy, like Half-Life, and GoldenEye even. So it's a first-person shooter, but you're doing other things. So it
first-person stealth, adventure, role-playing. There's the Illuminati. And just throwing that out there. As you said, PC. It also came out on the PlayStation 2. I wonder how comparable those two versions are.
I don't know. I have it on PC, so that's what I'm going to play it on.
Either way, find a copy of Deus Ex, played along with us and that Trav guy this week.
Join us in Discord. Let us know what you think about Deus Ex in our commentary channel. We might read it on the show. Also, we want to hang out with you. Go to discord.gg/newgameplus.
We want to say thank you to those of you who don't just listen to the show, but also get on patreon.com and tell us that you want us to keep making quality retro gaming entertainment for your ears, including our large list of producer-level supporters. Adam, Alex, Marlene, Antonin, Ben, Big Dude, Brunt, Ellis, Francesca, Gimbin, J. Robert, Jared, Joey, Jordan, Justin, Clint, Nicknat, Corey, Lawway, Levi, Mal, Maxima, Mr. Lattes, Pedro, Sage and Shauna, Subsonic Demon, Tezelhoff, Thomas, Unbelievable, and Zion. Huge thank you, which is bigger than big, to our director level supporters, Brojim, Daniel, DH Bowser, Garlisle, and Super Hypert. You guys are the real deal. And we got a new patron this week.
Hey.
Somebody joining in for the first time. So everybody say welcome to Tecmo Joe.
Welcome to Tecmo Joe.
Welcome to Tecmo Joel. Nope, Joe. Dang it. You can find us on our social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube. Links are in the show notes. Listen directly on any podcast provider of your choice. Make sure you subscribe so that you are the first to get new NGP episodes. And while you're at it, please leave a kind rating and review. Our video episode was edited by our friend Dylan. Our audio episode was edited and produced this week by Tom.
What?
Yeah. Dan is on tour.
Tom.
And Tom, our OG editor, is back
Tom.
for a special edit. I remember that as we were
just
recording.
remembered.
And this is our first week. This is a week of first.
Whoa.
This is our first week for David, our new graphic designer, marketing director, guru, is going to be creating these new thumbs for us. So make sure to say hi to him again in Discord. Join us next week with Trav Guy as we play Deus Ex. Until then, I'm still Kenny.
Identity theft is not a joke.
I'm Joel.
I wish you would have said Kenny.
You said Joel.
And this has been New
You had
Game
one job.
Plus.